Hey, TikTok. I'm really trying, TikTok. I am trying, but you don't make it any easier. I got a community guidelines or a channel strike on the top of the tick. Can you believe I got another one? This is not my first channel or community guidelines strike on TikTok. You're never going to guess. Well, you will guess if you look at the stream title. I got a channel strike for driving my vehicle on empty. That's right. I was driving my vehicle on empty and I shot a video of it. And I got a channel strike for that. Yo, GG Grahamy over on Twitch. How you doing, man? Yeah, I'm gonna what's up, big bro? Thanks, man. How you doing over on the Twitch machine? I'm going to show you my TikTok, and we're gonna appeal. We're gonna do it together. So let's do that. Let's crank over here. Let's go to the TikTok machine. You guys can see this. Oh, shit. Oh, whoa. Just kill in case it's audio that we can't play. Let me just kill the audio here on that end, just in case that's copyrighted. Usually it is on TikTok. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to show you, holy 66 viewers. What's going on? Where did the 66 viewers come from? Party? You botting me again? Let me just check Party. Yeah, 60 viewers on Party and not a single person chatting. Awesome. Real good numbers there, Party. Let's go to my channel here, my profile. Here is the video, the video on the furthest right, community guidelines violation. I have to appeal every single TikTok upload. Grahimi, this is why it sucks, because look, I don't really care about TikTok so much, but I am making an effort over there. I've been putting solid effort in, and look, I'm getting the results, man. Like 2,383 followers, 15k likes. I'm getting numbers, right? My videos are getting viewed. 1,300 here, 2,500, 7,000, 5,000, 1,700, 14,000, 11,000, 24,000. 427,000, 166,000, 35,000, 68,000, 39,000. So I'm getting numbers, right? I'm getting the numbers. So I'm giving it a shot, and then I upload a video, and I'll show you the video as well. Of course, we'll see it, but this is it. Removed for dangerous acts. The content here, I pushed my Mitsubishi Delica to the limit and got how many kilometers to the tank? This van just keeps surprising me. Any guesses before I reveal? And then I got a whole bunch of hashtags. Looks like 27 likes before it got deemed as offensive. Community guidelines violation. View the details. Video removed. You just followed on TikTok. Okay, thanks, man. This video violates our community guidelines. Account strike. You received a strike on your account for violating our community guidelines. Tap on that. You received multiple strikes on your account for violating our community guidelines. Accumulating 3 or more strikes for a similar violation could result in an account ban. So I made a comment because I liked it, you stupid fool. That was my first warning. And then I made a comment, aspect ratio on TikTok, dummy. And that got violated as well. There's a few here that got restored. Marty takes his shoes off while driving. That one got restored. I pushed my Mitsubishi. So let's first of all go back and watch the video, because I upload the same thing to my Insta. So here's my Instagram. I'll give you some volume here so you can hear this one. And so this is literally the same video on Instagram. No volume? Why is there no volume? What? Why is there no volume?
Ah! I've got 40.
You kidding me? Did you hear that? What the hell, dude? It just came in super strong.
Tennant Creek
Okay.
on that tank.
I'll just rewind it.
Deserves documentation. The petrol light has just come on. 409.
Instagram.
I feel like this deserves documentation. The petrol light has just come on. 496 Ks to this tank. There is 50 Ks to Tennant Creek. What that means is I'm going to run out of fuel before I get to Tennant Creek. However, I've got 40 litres above me. This is a record fuel economy. Just hit 500 Ks to the tank. Lights on. Ow! Well, we made it into Tennant Creek on that tank. 547 Ks. Fuel light's been on forever. That's impressive. I gotta tell you, I did not know that we'd make. I'd given up. I thought we weren't gonna make it. I feel like this deserves
And that's
documentation.
That's what got me a community guidelines ding. Let's appeal this. Let's appeal this right now. So you received a strike. Next. Violation reason, dangerous activities and challenges. Now, is this because I was driving? How do they know I was filming? Could have been someone else that was filming. Might have been Marty. Most activities or challenges are appropriate for everyone, but some carry a risk of significant injury. We do not allow showing or promoting dangerous activities and challenges. Not a challenge, not an activity. This includes dares, nope. Games, nope. Tricks, nope. Inappropriate use of dangerous tools, nope. Eating substances that are harmful to one's health, nope. Or similar activities that may lead to significant physical harm. That was horrific, Grahimi. I can't witness this. So stupid, eh? What can you do? Submit an appeal. View your account status. How's my account on this after this horrendousness? Oh, my account's taking a long time to load here. Interesting. That's interesting. Is my account banned or something? Let's just refresh the trousers. Account strike. Nope. We want to go to the appeal here. I always use the account checker thing to see if a video gets dinged. I didn't even know there was one here. Account strike, here we go. You received a strike on your account for violating about your video. What can you do? Submit an appeal. Appeals typically take up to 24 hours. Let's submit. You don't get to say anything. You just click a button. It doesn't even give you the chance to say what you're like. What? It didn't even give you a chance to say anything. You just clicks. All you do is click appeal. So what that tells me is that the original strike was not a human. Now it goes to a human. So it's submitted. They're reviewing it. Let's go back and see if we can see my account status now, if that'll work. Doesn't look like it. TikTok is denying me an account. I mean, my account's still up, right? Like, my account's still viewable, but it's just not. Shut up. It's just not there. My account's still valid, right? Yeah, it's still there. Dangerous acts, driving a vehicle with no fuel. I think you nailed it there. It's a robot blocking it, then a human sees it's not something messed up and it gets approved. Well, we'll see. We'll keep this stream rolling and I'll keep Trouser refreshing and I'll come back to you if that does change from the well, actually, you can tell me by refreshing my TikTok page momentarily every now and then you'll see that video go live. But I don't know. Look, my point here is that it's very frustrating when you're trying to do the right thing. You're trying to you're trying to progress. You're trying to move through a website. You're trying to do the right things on a website and, gain an audience, gain some traction, gain some views. And you upload a video that clearly is not anything weird and you get dinged. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's just, it shouldn't bother me, but it does. But I know it probably shouldn't, right? But it kind of does, just because I put all the effort in to do the right thing, and they still ding it. It's just lame, right? In other news, though, we are on all the platforms, and Beam has had an update, and Beam is running smooth. In fact, this is the smoothest I've seen Beam run, I think, ever. It's running like a little smooth website should run. I'm just looking at it now. It seems way more responsive. Like, okay, let me show you. Let me drag this down here. Having said that, it just stalled out on me. Shit, I just dragged this window down and okay, now it's refreshing. Yeah, it just seems more responsive. Like when you click buttons, you know, it just seems like everything seems a little bit more snappy. Still a whole bunch of content that's not there. It's been coming soon for as long as I've been here. But it just seems like a lot more. It's a lot cleaner. I hope we don't have any issues with the stream dropping, or these tabs being weird. I guess they are looking a bit weird when you hover. It's a bit weird. Hopefully it's whatever the issues that they were having has been fixed. Oh, are we on DLive? Are we live on DLive? That's a good point. Let me just check that. Are we live on DLive? DLive is the website that was giving Beam a little bit of strife. Let me just pull it up and see if I'm live there. I don't know. That's the one that might be messing up. Do I see myself? You're a legend for having such good setup, and no Dan. Oh, no, Dan. You're wow! My Eunice, wow! It means I'm live on TikTok. Oh, no, I'm DLive, whoever did that. Just Rev, how you doing, man? Thanks for the... Dude, on my social stream chat pull-in, you donated lice cream. Not rice cream, not ice cream. But we are live there. And yes, I got your I get your gag there, Grahimi. No Dan, that's an H3 reference. Yeah, let's talk a little about that. I don't know. I guess you're the only H3 fan here watching right now, Grahimi. I feel like, I mean, it was great. It was great to get that little feature on the show. I really thought that the Australians might have taken that chance with me and tried to really put our mark on the H3 podcast. I thought we might have had a crew rally together and like try to do stuff, because obviously like my initial reason for reaching out to them was, oddly enough, not the reason that the way that we got together was not what I did. It was what I did, but it wasn't my original idea. My original idea was my pitch. And when I realized that wasn't going to happen, I made it happen myself. And I went ahead and did the thing. Then I had that crazy dream, uploaded that video, and then they saw that. And so there's no reason for me to have, I'm not asking for anything from the H3 crew, because I did my trip anyway. But what I thought we could do was to sort of angle that so that the Australians get something. I don't even know what that would be, but I just thought that we could strike while the iron's hot. Like, they are aware of Australia, they are aware of Australians, and there's quite a few Aussies that watch that podcast. And there's me that gets a bit of a step up, and I could have angled that for all of our benefits. Like I said, I don't know what that would look like, but maybe it would be organizing the back end for, H3 doing a show, like a live show in Australia. I would, I'd help happily facilitate that. Yo, Clay over on YouTube. Hello, good morning. How you doing? It's been a while. I'm sorry I've not been able to watch your streams. That's all right, Clayskis. That's cool. I did see you on H3 originally, but I've loved tuning into your streams since. Yo, that's rad, dude. So you're a I'll tell you what. You, Grahimi, might be the only one that's still here after that stuff. I did get a little bump. I got a little H3 bump. I'd consider it a lowercase h and a small 3. It wasn't like, Okay, my YouTube channel is reasonably dead at all anyway, but I think I might have got about 100 subscribers after that. So not quite a huge boost, but certainly welcomed. Yeah, but I feel like from the videos around that dream video and the live stream where I directly related back to that and reacted to the podcast, those got a few views and then it's just dwindled back off. I'm trying to hang in there, but I'm very frustrated with the situation. I don't even know what's going on with. Well, Claysky, what's cracking? Can we help you at all? Can I help you? Whatever's going down in Claytown, I'd like to help out. Grahimi, we are kindred spirits, I think. Well, look, man, it was a buzz. It was certainly cool to get the little H3 recognition. And yeah, I mean, they've got a lot on their plate right now. Although I feel like maybe the whole Hassan stuff might be sort of coming to an end. I don't know, like it just seems like there's not much more in that, unless Hassan says I'll come on and we'll have a debate. I mean, if he does that, then there's nothing else to be said until, I mean, the guy, it just seems stupid, right? The one of the biggest political reacting streamers has spent weeks reacting to something that he hasn't watched. That just seems really strange. I'm like, this dude needs to watch this video, not someone else's reaction to it. He needs to watch the video that's been angled at him to then be able to have a valid response. It's like a book review without having read the book. It's like I'm reviewing a movie, but I only saw the trailer, or I'm reviewing a film and someone told me what it was about. You know, like you got to go and watch the film yourself. Do you know Boy Boy? I don't know Boy Boy. Gives a Minute is #1 Australian stream. Well, thank you, but I'll have whatever you're drinking. Yeah, so I feel like the content on H3 lately, up until I guess sort of like the subathon, the content has been focused a lot on this Hassan stuff, but I feel like that's kind of dwindling off anyway. And I don't really mind either way. Like I'm certainly on the H3 side of that equation, but you know what does suck about it? I do, when I'm sitting here watching, like consuming content, I will watch the other streamers and other reaction guys talk about it, and then invariably I'll come across Hassan's stream or his reaction. There's like a compilation stream that people put together, and then I've got to watch him, and I really don't. I said this before and I'll say it again. Even before all this drama, I just didn't really like that guy's content. Don't like his delivery method, don't like his vocal delivery, don't like his appearance, don't like the content. I just didn't, and now I've got to watch it because I want to do what I'm saying he should do. Instead of reacting and responding to someone else talking about what Hassan has said, I'll watch the Hassan video. But that means the problem there is I've got to watch the Hassan video. You can see the bind I'm in. Claysky, I have a friend of mine, just don't know what's going on with, and I feel like I don't know the information on what's going on with them, and I'm feeling like you're not being in the loop of things. So you have a friend, there's a situation, you don't know what the situation is, but you're still concerned. Okay? But you don't know what's going on. Can you ring them? Grahimi, Boy is two Aussie guys who are honestly geniuses in so many regards. Well, let me take a little look-skis at Boy. Where are we? Let's go over to the tubes of you, Boy. Oh, Boy. There's my channel. Boy. Interesting name, Boy. They did somewhat recently put out a video with Hassan about CIA torture methods, which was wild. Okay, Boy. They're Aussies.
Hi, I'm Alexa. I snuck into...
I do recognize this gentleman's voice. I've called him today Klasky, you've got two friends. You've called them today. Oh, you might that might be how they go by. You've called them today numerous times, and so they haven't responded to you. Let's take a look at the most popular video here on Boy's channel. Most popular. We snuck into a CIA base in the Aussie outback. Is this Pine Gap? This is how I've seen these guys, right? Pine Gap. We watched this video.
So last month, we were on a flight with fellow Aussie YouTuber Friendly Geordies.
Yeah, we watched this.
A completely normal domestic flight.
We watched this, and by the way, I went out there to Pine Gap on my on the Uluru mission, which was the reason I pitched the H3 podcast to get them to pay for it. We went there to that Pine Gap. You guys in my chat, not you guys particularly, my chat said you got to go out there. It's a place called Pine Gap. It's a joint. What is it? It's a joint US and Australian defense facility. Yeah, they're monitoring Australian soil. No, they're on Australian soil monitoring for the United States. And I went out there and planked in front of the sign that says you can't come any closer. So I'm very well, not very well, but I am aware of the Boy channel. But Klasky, I didn't know you'd been there before. That's awesome. Yeah, it was because of that video. When I was out in Alice Springs, my chat said, you watched that video where, excuse me, you watched that video where these guys went out to the Pine Gap with the Friendly Geordies. So you might as well go there because it's like 20 Ks from where I was. So, what else is on their channel though? Let me take a look at Boy's channel.
Hi.
Hi. We made our friend an international fugitive. I mean, it's interesting content, isn't it? It's pretty funny. Our friend is going to jail. The environmental disaster no one knows about. Yeah, okay. Cool. Cool. I like it. I like it. I've got a couple of videos lined up here today. What's this one? This is the Sphere, how the Las Vegas Sphere actually works. And then we got Toothboy as well. We'll take a look at Toothboys. Grahimi, I think their stuff with the whistleblower on the military is wild. Yeah. I'm sure, you know what? Dude, I just shut that down. Let me just open that back up. I just closed it down. I'll just reopen it. Which one were you talking about? The whistleblower. Not that. Videos. I'll just search up whistleblower. Or just whistle. No. Whistle didn't come up. Whistleblower. Oh, we also watched that. How much money can we launder in a day? So yeah, we've seen these guys before. Klasky, I can't. Can you link me? Oh, Grahimi, you can't link, can you? What's that video called, dude? Hassan has been called out even by Elon Musk and even been mocked for the promotion of the Assassin's Creed game, taking money from sponsors. I did see that Philly D report. Yeah, I don't know a great deal about that. I don't game. Yeah, but I don't know. Like look, I mean, I probably should take a look at it, but it's like, it just baffles me that it coming back to the H3 thing. Why won't he watch the Hassan nuke? Why won't he sit down and just watch it? If he watched it, he could then come and say, okay, I've taken all that in. Here's my counterpoints. I've listened to what you've said. The whole internet's talking about it, and he's talking about it, but he hasn't actually watched it. What the hell? That is the strangest take. Everybody's talking about this. Everybody wants me to respond to it, so I will, but I won't watch it. I will not watch it. Like, dude, are you that busy in your life that you can't dedicate, it's about an hour, I think, 40 minutes? Just sit down and watch it, dude. Sit down and watch it, make notes, come back, say, okay, I've taken it all in. Here's the response. That seems like And then you can say, look, I'll also go on and debate if either Ethan comes on my channel or I go on his channel, but I've got the notes and I've got the responses. But flat out refusing to watch it is like the antics of a child. It's the very childish way to respond. Like, you like Philly D? So I have a love-hate relationship with his content. I don't like his delivery method at all. I hate the way he speed talks. I can't stand that. Yeah, and I don't agree with a lot of his takes, but I do think it's important to watch. His content is important to consume if you're active in this space. You need to be aware of, maybe not so much lately, he's kind of angled it more towards like straight up traditional news, but previously it used to be quite a well-rounded approach to like YouTube news, if you like. And yeah, if you're in this space and you're active in this space, you need to keep on top of everything. He's the guy. It's kind of like why I used to watch Drama Alert back in the early days, right? Because again, I don't want to watch Logan Paul. I don't want to watch Jake Paul, but I do want to know what's going on. And in a little 10-minute video that Keemstar compiles, at least you get the meat and the guts of it. And then you can say, okay, I'll catch whatever, you know. But I just don't like that speed talking that Philly D does. Like, you know, slow down a little, dude. If you're talking about gnarly stuff like, you know, terrorist bombings and shit, you want to do it, you want to deliver it sort of so we can understand it and take it all on. That's just my take there. So yeah, I'm not too sure about that gaming thing that Hassan is involved in, the gaming Elon stuff, but yeah, I guess I'm interested because I'd like to see what it is he's going to avoid this time, you know? Like if Elon's calling him out, what's he going to say? Well, I'm not even going to read Elon's tweets, probably. We're both too old for it, I think. It's to grab the attention of the kids. I understand that. I understand it, and I get why he does it. It's also to pack a lot more information into a shorter amount of time. But have you ever done this, man? Maybe you might be busy throughout the week. Like sometimes days go by where I haven't caught any of his content, and I'll bulk watch like 3 episodes in a row. Have you ever done that and then do this? You just press mute after the last episode finishes and you just sit there in silence, and it's like, holy shit, dude. It's just so much calmer when Philly D stops talking, or when you mute the channel. It's like, wow. Before that it was and you're like, all this information, all this noise is all coming at me, and then all of a sudden, so when you press that mute, I do that a lot actually. I'm like, I want to see what he's got to say and I want to hear about it, and then I want to hit the M and just go, yeah, just stillness. I love Phil for sure, but I can agree with you. Do you know what happened one time? This goes back maybe about a year and a half. He had a new crew member, a new editor, and they accidentally updated or uploaded a version of the daily upload at 1.5x. So you know how you can toggle it on YouTube, the speed you want? Well, they actually changed the speed of the audio track in the hard coded in the edit. And so the video that and it wasn't the whole video. It was like one segment of the news. He spoke faster, and it was only fractionally faster. It must have been like, yeah, something like not 1.5. It would have been like 1.2 or something, 1.1 or something, like just barely quicker. But I was like, dude, is it just me, or is he speaking even fucking faster now? What is he doing? And it was barely decipherable, but it was there. And then the next day, he made an apology and he said, look, I've got to apologize. A portion of yesterday's show was incorrectly sped up in the hard code of the edit. And I was like, okay, so it wasn't just me. I was like, I thought I was going mental, because I was like, I know he talks quick, but this is outrageously quick, but it's just so subliminally outrageous. It wasn't like chipmunks. It was just that little bit quicker. I told my German, and by the way, he should do that again and do it the other way where it slows down just to see if people pay attention. Of course they will. But I told my German friend I stopped watching the news, Philly D, because it stresses me out too much. There's that too, right? There's that too. Like, I think when it's politics, I think it's important, like pre-election times. And I think you need to stay up to date on that. But any like other news events, maybe not so vital. Klasky, Philly D is always kind of wishy-washy to me. Yeah, well, it's funny, he doesn't have an opinion. I want to throw this over to you. He always passes it off to the audience. However, he definitely does have an opinion, and that's fine. Like, everybody can have their opinion, and you don't have to all agree with each other either. Like, you can enjoy his content and not agree with his takes. That's clear, right? Like, you don't have to agree. You might have a content creator that you really love, and they might have one issue that you don't like and that you disagree on, and that's fine. Like, that's part of it. No one. I mean, that would be boring if everybody agreed on the same thing, right? It'd be so boring. Be nothing to talk about. But he is a bit wishy-washy. I tell you what I don't agree with, and this isn't just him, but there's a stance. It's been around for a while now where people don't give you the name of someone like the Trump assassin attempt. They don't give you his name, like a school bomber. They don't tell you the name. It's like, wow, man, that's really shit, because not only are you making me more curious now, because I'm going to go and search up other news articles, like, whereas I would normally get all the information from you, including the person's name, if I needed to know it. Most of the time you don't need to know it, but it'd be nice to know the name to then be able to remember it later on, right? Let's just say it's the 1990s and O.J. Simpson did his thing, right? And they didn't mention his name. You'd be like, a football player. I wonder who that could be. And then you start speculating, and then rumors start circulating. So if you don't mention the name of someone that's done something gnarly, the viewer goes elsewhere. So then you lose the view, and they go off sites and find other sites that might not be as reputable, might not have the full details of the story. So I don't agree with that. I think you should give the news, regardless of what the news is. If your job title if your channel is to deliver the news, do not siphon bits and pieces out of it. Now, I know why they do it. They don't want to give them the glory, the credit. I disagree. I think they've done the thing. They have a name. We, as humans, we identify people by their name. We identify people by sight and by hearing, but also by name. So why not use the thing that we humans have devised to identify people and give us the news? That's my take, babe. You might completely disagree with that. That's cool, but that's how I feel. And like I said, as soon as a news story like whatever this Trump assassination attempt at the was it Boulder or somewhere, wherever that was, as soon as that happened, then I was watching him, and he said, "We're not going to give you the name." I straight away paused, went off to another site, open tab, search up name of. It's just annoying too, because you know you're going to find it, like you're going to see it. So, what difference does it make where you get it from? If it's some moral high ground that Philly D sits on, that's his prerogative. He's sending me shit immediately about Arkansas, where I live, making laws about gender non-conforming haircuts or whatever. What a non-important thing to make a law about. I mean, yeah. I mean, look, there's an example. I guess you're not agreeing. Philly D doesn't go hard enough into calling out people specifically, but that's an interesting point, because is he? I guess there's no real fine line. Dude, I just see a video on the sidebar, Starlink Gigabit internet from outer space. Shit me, I'm going to take a look at that in a little while. Is it his, Klasky, does Philly D have to do that though? Does he need, like, he's a news channel. If you think back to, like, actually, I don't know if you should even do this because it's not the same. I was about to say, if you compare like terrestrial over the air television news reporting to what we see on the internet, you didn't see like old mate on the ABC News give his opinion of it. He just told you, shuffled the papers and said there was a bomb that exploded in downtown yesterday. 17 people died. Now onto the weather and sports, right? Like, so is it the responsibility of a news person to give you their opinion? Maybe on the internet it's a bit different. Maybe there's a bit more of a connect going on. Dude, it's gotten cold in here. What am I? I'm busy shivering and I've got the remote control for the AC right there. Hassan thinks he sees Joe Rogan of the left when he's not. When it's the Midas Touch podcast, who's number one right now. Okay. Grahimi, I think this is an interesting take for sure. I do understand why not to name them if they wish to become famous, but also public shaming. Like the thing is the person. Okay, if the person dies in the incident, whatever that is, they're automatically going to be named somewhere, right? They're going to have an obituary. They're going to be named. What difference does it make if the name came from the report? We should know who they are and be able to stay away from them. I mean, if they're still alive, that's a good point. Yeah. There was a school shooting in my town, Jonesboro, Arkansas, in the 90s, and I'm fairly sure the motherfuckers are out of jail now. Well, there's that too, right? Like, yeah, if they get served like a suspended sentence or something and they get released, yeah, I think, yeah, you should know who they are, for sure. See, there's two different schools of thought that are both pretty valid here. Number one, which is Philly D's approach and many other places, they don't want to give the glory. The other thing too with that is not always is the person seeking glory, you know, not always. Some cases they're just nutters, right? They're not just looking for glory. A lot of the times they pop themselves anyway and they're dead. So what difference does it make? My take on it is if you don't deliver it, I'll get my news source elsewhere. The other thing too, and this is a bit of a stretch, but I'll say it. If they're not telling you the name of the person, what else are they not telling? I'm just saying, if you're gonna tell the news, but you're keeping a portion of it from the story, is there the potential that you're also keeping another portion of the story? Just saying, right? I'm not saying that's what Philly D does, but I'm just saying that opens up that potential. Let's just say there is the scope for other things to be left out if there's enough of a reason. There is enough reason from Philly to not tell you the name of a person, so there might be enough reason not to tell you where it happened. For instance, if it happened in a suburb or something, like when you know multiple people died in a bombing, but we're not going to tell you the number because the number might change. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not reporting. That like. Well, it is reporting, but again, it's not telling the whole story. I want the whole news, and nothing but the news. Klaski, I know that there's people like Jerry Springer who used to do his final thoughts on WLWT NBC Cincinnati. Okay, used to give his opinions. So that's prior to the internet. Yeah, so it did exist. I mean, it's very interesting thoughts, very interesting topic. But I guess this comes back to, do you watch Philly D, you know? And yes, I do. I don't miss an episode. Just like I don't miss an episode of the H3. And that's how we got started on this. I was thanking Grahimi because you're one of the, and Klaski, you're two of the crew that have come over from that whole saga or that whole situation. So I appreciate you guys being here. I'm going to go and grab myself a coffee right now. When we come back, we'll take a look at these videos we've got lined up. What did I see? I saw one here. This is a new, I just saw this on the sidebar. Starlink Gigabit. Hang on a second. It's just loading. Starlink Gigabit. That's amazing. Who's getting gigabit speeds on Starlink? That's amazing. And then we've got this Sphere, Las Vegas Sphere, and some Toothboy. Ghost Town Living. That's the plan here. I'll be back with a coffee. I'm not going to leave you with nothing, though. I'm going to give you a surfing clip from a little while back. I haven't been surfing since this video was shot. It's about 2 weeks ago now. I'm getting itchy. Shit. Hey, all right. Got myself a coffee. Grahimi, I do want to. Oh, Grahimi, do you surf, Clay? Clay didn't answer, but you answered. You wanted to? I'll tell you this, man. That's going to be too hot. I tell you, surfing, this is why it frustrates me that I haven't surfed since that video was shot, because surfing does require quite a great deal of upper body strength, mainly in the paddling. And so if you don't surf, you lose that paddle, that strength. And I haven't surfed in 2 weeks, but I do planking. I plank to keep that strength, that upper body strength going. But yeah, it just frustrates me. But surfing is fun, but you need to be fit. It's a great way to get fit as well. Who, me, surfing? I'm scared of sharks. Well, there's that too, yeah. The least we say about that, the better, because it is a very real threat. You know, Australia, everything will kill you, but definitely in Australian waters, you're certainly... yeah, it's very frightening, very frightening. I do wear I wear an arm bracelet and an ankle bracelet. It's called Shark Bands, B-A-N-Z, Shark Bands. And it apparently sends out a magnetic pulse that certain species of sharks, it repels them. Now, it probably won't work against a great white because they stealth attack. They come charging in from a distance. But some of the sharks that are just more, let's say, docile and slower, that it's been proven that these devices work. But let's move on though, folks. Starlink Gigabit. Who's getting gigabit speeds from Starlink? Holy shitballs, 7 hours ago. I'm keen to see how this works.
Are you ready for Gigabit SpaceX Starlink? I know I am. Let's get into it.
Let's jump right into it.
Hey everybody, welcome back.
Dude, come on, man. Sorry, should I do... Look, I'm live streaming and I'm having a coffee because, you know, live streaming. This guy's making an edited video and he edits himself drinking a coffee into it. Come on, man. You don't do that.
Let's get into it.
You don't need to do that, you douchebag. I'm sorry, it's so stupid. Like this whole YouTube phenomenon with coffee making and having a coffee, like, come on, man. You're editing a video. You could easily cut that bit out.
Everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much once again joining me for tea time today.
Okay. Okay, maybe is that his thing, tea time? Let me just see if it's his thing. J. Christina, tea time. Does he have a little playlist called tea time? He better have a little playlist called tea time. Doesn't look like it. Okay. I still think it looks lame. Rookie mistake in editing? Nah, it's a thing. It's his shtick. Street Sharks. Street Sharks.
Fireside. That's it. That smokiness. So good. I hope you're joining me with your cup of tea, maybe a cup of coffee, hanging out, talking tech, talking space, talking SpaceX.
Okay. I'll walk that back a little. He does use it as a thing. My bad. I thought he was just putting it in. I didn't give it a chance, but it just looked lame. Oh, by the way, I just refreshed my TikTok. And no appeal as yet. Still on community guidelines violation.
Starlink. Lots of tech, guys. So today's going to be a Starlink day. We're going to be talking about Gigabit. Can you believe it? Gigabit. I said this would happen about 2 years ago.
Wait. Grahimi, this was the whistleblower? This guy's channel? This guy was the whistleblower you're talking about? This guy? Okay, that's a bit of an interesting coincidence.
And people said, you know, it's not possible. That's just it's just too far. How is it going to be? How can we get gigabit from a satellite? So yeah, it's going to happen. Well, it looks like we're on the cusp. It's here. It is here. And I have
no. You put up a link, but it got blocked. Oh, okay. Yeah, you might have to, if you want to post a link, just go onto my Kick channel. Also follow me on Kick. But yeah, you can post links in the Kick chat, I'm pretty certain. If not, you can definitely post them in the DLive chat. Any of those chats will work, but I don't think YouTube allows it.
Insider information that I've gleaned recently that I'm going to tell you by the end of this video about what is going on with this service. And today we're just going to go over it a little bit. What does this mean? What are the ramifications? I've read a few articles. I want to give you some of the information. Then, of course,
Yeah,
my
mods can do it.
commentary.
Yep.
But more importantly, I want to hear from you down below. So when you're done watching this video, let me hear what you think about
He's going to throw it over to us. He's learned from the best.
all this in the comment area. And if you don't want to put something down there, throw an emoji down there. That would be very helpful. If you enjoyed the content, throw it a thumbs up. If you hate it, throw it a thumbs down. Either way, it helps out the channel a lot. And if you're not subscribed, consider...
I want to help you out. I want to help him out. I want to go in and I want to grab that lampshade behind him and just straighten it just that little bit. It's bugging the hell out of me. It's kind of weird. The lampshade comes along the same slant as the iMac that's sitting there as well. There you go. Thanks, Grahimi. I got your link there. I can see that in the kick machine. I'll grab that out. I'm just going to grab that out. I got you there. All right.
doing so. And if you are, thank you. I appreciate that. Click the notification button over here so when I go live when a new video comes out, you'll be notified of it immediately. And if you want to say thank you for all of my hard work on this channel, right down here, YouTube gave us that thank you button. Click on that, give $1 or $2 if you like. If not, it's perfectly fine. Consider becoming a member of the channel. That would be even better. And finally, if you want more SpaceX Starlink content, I've put together over 450 videos just for you. I'll put a link here. Don't click on it yet. When you're done watching
If you
this
had
video,
mods,
click there, and you'll see
Man, there's a lot of clicking going on here. I do have mods, but they're not here at this stage.
bunch of helpful how-tos, tips, tricks, what to do, what not to do, what to buy, what not to buy, and of course the why behind all of it. So as I always say, the channel is all about the why, not just the how, but the why, because I personally think the why is more important. Anyways, let's jump right into this article, and then once again, I want to hear from you down below.
I really hate how YouTubers do that. Let's jump right in, and then they give you 2 minutes and 25 seconds worth of sponsor me, click this, click that. Okay, let's jump right in. Dude, either jump right in or don't jump right in. Don't give us the spiel and then pretend you're jumping right in.
SpaceX's Starlink upgrade, gigabit speeds on the way. SpaceX is gearing up to roll out a new Starlink dish that promises gigabit internet speeds, 1,000 megabits or more.
This is interesting. So he's reacting to something, but he's just reading it, not showing it to us. Interesting. That's a good way to get around no getting copyright dinged.
A massive jump from the 200 megabits most users are getting now. SpaceX hinted at this upgrade during a webinar for Starlink resellers. It's not just a tweak, it's a full leap forward that could make satellite internet on par.
That's why the beautiful bastard Philly D is the best. He smacks you with it. Did you hear Ethan and the crew talking about not calling us bastards? It took me years to realize that the monkey intro used to say, "This is a news show." What did you think it said? You beautiful bastards. I don't know about that. I feel like sometimes certain parts of the world, you know, curses are looked upon. Like in Australia, we use the word, and I won't say it now because, you know, I'm globally streaming, but we use the word that sounds like punt but starts with a C. We use that as the way that you might hear Philly D say bastard. But if I come out with an opening to my YouTube channel saying, you know, you beautiful punts, I'm sure that would not fly at all. But the point of it is that in certain areas, certain words are looked upon differently. To call someone a punt in Australia, it's actually a term of endearment in many instances. It can be the opposite. It can be a total derogatory term, but so can bastard. You cutie full plunt. The C word, yeah. Look, like that's what I'm saying. Like, and man, go to Scotland and it's nearly every single word they say. So you, imagine that in a news report, just punt, and then the punt did this and punt.
With top tier fiber. I agree with that. You know, a side note here is, like I said, I talked about this many moons ago, over a year ago. And I said, you know, gigabit is going to come. All right, I think it's going to be here, and it's probably going to come with the version 3 Starlink satellites. That's part of it, guys, so keep listening. The catch is that you'll need new gear to tap into these speeds. The current dishes can't handle the extra radio bands this upgrade demands. SpaceX is also refreshing its lineup, cutting the prices of its flat panel high performance version, that's its business class, from $2,500 down to $1,500, probably to clear stock for what's coming. I agree with that also.
Grahimi, we don't really love that word in the US for sure, but I'm also not qualified to speak on this. Yeah. The word bastard is an interesting one though, because, you know, it has a very well known and very well documented meaning of born without a father, you know, of no fathered family. So why would he call us all that? How does he know what our family situation is? It's just odd, right? It's just odd, but it's stuck all over the years, so it works for him.
So there's talk of a follow-up to the Starlink Mini too, though no one's spilled the details yet. What it will take to make this a reality. This isn't happening overnight. Two big hurdles stand in the way. The FCC to sign off on using more spectrum, and SpaceX's Starship rocket needs to launch the third generation version 3 Starlink satellites.
That's interesting. So it doesn't just require new hardware on Earth, it requires new hardware in the spaces as well. It needs bigger satellites. That's intriguing.
Sounds familiar, right, guys? With over 7,000 satellites already in orbit, thanks to Falcon 9, Starship's the muscle for the next phase. Some news agencies say that late 2025 is the target, but after the Starship's March 6 test flight ending in an explosion, well, it could be longer. According to SpaceX, another Starship test flight is slated for May. If that flops, maybe this will be pushed back to 2026. The latest dirt and extra juice. Since this report, posts on X hint that SpaceX might prioritize business with this dish, matching their enterprise-first vibe. SpaceX President Gwen Shotwell dropped some gems in the webinar. Smaller beams, more capacity, lower latency. Very interesting. Starlink's subscriber count hit 5 million by March 7th, per SpaceX's own tally, up 1 million since October 2024. That's crazy, guys. Like 6 months or so, they hit 1 million extra people. That's amazing. Their Bastrop, Texas factory is cranking out 15,000 dishes.
That factory there looks like one big Starlink dish from above.
Every day, and eyeing an expansion of 1 million square feet by the end of this year. Starlink's outage tracker on Down Detector shows a 99.9% uptime.
Okay, so he's just reading off a press release. I mean, could we have just found this ourselves? Starlink press release. Starlink updates. I just wonder if he's reading a press release. Starlink press release Gigabit. PC Mag Australia. Yeah, he's just reading off this press release. Next generation will have smaller beams, more capacity per beam, lower latency, SpaceX President Gwen Shotwell said. He's just reading off this. So I guess the point of this is, or the reason we were interested in that is because IRL streaming. I've got a Starlink Mini. I did have. I don't know where it is. I don't know where that is, but I'll show you where this is. The P3 Mini from KiloView. I'm going to be setting this up tomorrow, actually. And yeah, I haven't mentioned this, but I'm doing a road trip in about a week. I'm going to be live from the road. If you're interested in like sort of like Uluru style content for a week and a bit, I'm doing a bit of a road trip through sort of Victoria and New South Wales. And this is the guy that's going to fuel it all, the KiloView P3 and a Starlink Mini. So if you're interested in IRL content, streaming from GoVan, multiple cameras, driving through Australian outback and, well, not so much the outback, but just sort of country towns and whatnot. A little bit of surfing in there as well. That's all coming up. And that's why I'm interested in keeping an eye on the updates from Starlink. Of course, I got the Mini because I can put it on my backpack and on my van and drive around with it. But this bigger dish that gets gigabit speeds will probably be a whole nother saga. Drive to the US, dude. I've done a road trip over there once before, but not live streamed it. But I would love to get back to the States and Canada, man. I love those places. I'm joking, but definitely sounds awesome. I'll look forward to seeing this. Yeah, I'll make sure I put enough information out there on my channels to let everyone know. And I'll be broadcasting it live like I am now across all the platforms. I'm probably going to sign back up to Go Lights. Oh no, that doesn't have RTMP. I've got to look into that. I don't know which I'm gonna. I don't know which program I'm going to use to add my browser source plugins. My browser URLs. So what's this video from David McBride? This is the whistleblower. If you're seeing this, I'm in jail. Shit. No worries, Mr. Beast.
There we go. All right, Dave. So this is a bit more of a sobering video.
I thought that was Kamala Harris at the start. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
There we go. All right, Dave. So this is a bit more of a sobering video. This is one we're recording in case the outcome isn't what we want it to be.
Former military lawyer David McBride has been sentenced to 5 years and 8 months jail in the ACT Supreme Court for sharing classified military documents with journalists.
It's titled, "If You're Watching This, I'm Going to Prison."
No, it's not.
But
it's titled, "If You're Watching This, I'm in Jail." Different.
What would be your message to people in the instance where you have to go to prison?
If you're watching this, I'm in prison. Again, all I can do is thank the supporters. I'm not going to complain. I went into this with my eyes open. I always said I would go to prison with my head held up high, and it may be that I need to go to prison in order to fix this country. We need to look at how this country can pretend that I'm a national security threat when there are...
Prison sounds worse than jail. Yeah, jail is like lock up for the night kind of thing. Prison is like you're in prison. You're not getting out until after a certain amount of time.
So many other things wrong with it. So much bribery, so much corruption, even war criminals that haven't been in jail, and leaders of our completely failed war effort. 20 years, $6 trillion, 41 Australians, good Australian soldiers dead, and no one has had to answer for it except for me, because I have damaged national security. I will sit in jail, I will get stronger in jail, we will build our forces. Plenty of people down through the ages have been in jail and have come out stronger, so don't worry about me. Maybe if you keep...
Are we supposed to know what this guy did? Like if I'm just new to this, which I am, are we meant to know who this gentleman is? I don't know what he's referring to or what he's done.
And if you know my family, if you know my team, extend a helping hand, extend some love to my family. It won't be that easy for my girls, but they're strong girls. And when I tried to explain to them, or my ex-wife Sarah did, to say, you understand Dad might be in jail, they were like, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker, which I just love. They're not scared. They're a chip off the old block, and they are proud of me to not go silent until I'm out. I believe we'll win on an appeal. I believe the High Court will eventually have to say.
I want to find out who this guy is. I can't handle it. David McBride. His name is David McBride. So let me get a little GPT machine going. Chattus GSPS machine, come on down. Where are you? Here you are. Let's bring this machine down here. Who is David McBride? A former Australian military lawyer and whistleblower, he's best known for leaking classified documents to the ABC, formed the basis of the Afghan Files, a series of reports published in 2017 detailing alleged war crimes committed by Australian Special Forces in Afghanistan. Okay. He served as a legal officer in the ADF, argued that he disclosed information to the public interest, believing the military leadership was failing to address misconduct by elite troops. Okay. So who did he leak it to? He leaked it to the news. Okay. He was charged with breaching national security, facing multiple offences. Okay. His case is being controversial, with supporters arguing he acted as a whistleblower to expose wrongdoings. The government maintains that his actions endangered national security. In November 2023, McBride pleaded guilty, avoiding a full trial, but still faced sentencing. Yes, give us the update. It said, do you want an update on his current legal status? In 2024, he was granted leave to appeal both his conviction and sentence. So he's not in prison. His legal team argues that his actions were motivated by a duty to expose wrongdoing within the military. The appeal was heard in March 2025, the court reserving its decision. As of now, McBride remains incarcerated at the Alexander Makanishi Centre in Canberra. So he's not in prison or jail. He's not in prison or jail. What is the Alexander Makioni Centre? What is the... It is a prison. The AMC, the Alexander Makanonchi Centre, is a prison in Canberra, located in the ACT. That's where I'm going on my road trip, by the way. It's the only adult correctional facility in the ACT, accommodating both remand and sentenced prisoners. Okay. Opened in 2008. It's in Hume. Okay. So he is in prison, not a jail. So he is locked up. Okay. 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 Now we know a little bit of the backstory.
That we can't put people in jail for doing their jobs. I was a military lawyer.
So he's like Aussie's Edward Snowden. So he just said you can't put people in jail for doing your job, but your job wasn't to leak this info to the news. Your job was to maintain security for the Australian Defence Force. So if just speaking like completely around the subject, he worked for the ADF. He saw something he didn't like. He tried to change it inside the force. They said no. Then he went and leaked the info to the news. Okay. I mean, you can take that however you will.
What do you think my job would be if not to pick up on...
He presents as really angry at this situation, really like bitter about it, is the way I'm taking it. He presents as someone who is, this is so fucked up and I have to do this.
On appeal, I believe the High Court will eventually have to say that we can't put people in jail for doing their jobs. I was a military lawyer. What do you think my job would be if not to pick up on potential illegal activity within the organisation that I was meant to police?
Well, if you're a lawyer, you represent one side, not both sides. You know, you see something, you either represent the defendant or the accuser. Definitely should have some context in what he leaked. That's true. Let's find out what it was he leaked. Yeah, that's a very good point. Let's ask the GPT machine, what were the specifics of the documents he leaked. Documents he leaked. Yeah, if you know what the documents were, you'd understand the anger, for sure. The documents that David McBride leaked, known as the Afghan files, were a collection of hundreds of classified Australian Defence Force documents. Files were handed to the ABC and formed the basis of an investigative report. Allegations of war crimes. Document detailed reports of alleged war crimes between 2009 and 2013. They suggested unlawful killings of unarmed civilians, including farmers and children. That's horrible. References to a warrior culture within the elite SAS that encouraged kill counts as a measure of success. Okay. Cover-ups and misconduct. The files included internal military reports that showed some incidents were known to the ADF, but were not properly investigated. That's a bit sketchy. They suggested that commanders failed to act on complaints or took steps to suppress info. Contradictions to official accounts. The leaked documents challenged the official government narrative, which has largely downplayed allegations. So they said this didn't happen. The documents prove otherwise. They exposed internal concerns within the Defence Force about the behaviour of certain personnel. So certain names were named. Interesting. Grahimi, Americans do this too, don't get me wrong, but it's sad to see this man get locked up for doing the right thing. Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, okay. The impact of the leak, it led to the Brereton report in 2020. While McBride's leaks didn't directly initiate the Brereton inquiry, they increased public scrutiny on the military. The Brereton report later found credible evidence that the Australian soldiers unlawfully killed at least 39 civilians and prisoners. Shit. Ouch. And that led to a raid by the federal police, by the... Wait, the ABC was raided? The news was raided? The news was raided by the federal police. What the hell? In response to the leaks, the Australian Federal Police raided the ABC Sydney offices, sparking concerns over freedom of press. What the fuck? Wow. So the... Give us the files. You don't think there's going to be copies, duplicates, digital files? What the hell? What's a raid going to do? McBride has consistently argued that he acted in the public interest. Okay. The government maintains that he breached national security laws. Well, there's no denying, right? There's zero denial that he breached security laws. There's no denying that. He's obviously acknowledged that. He's done it. He's done this in what he deems to be the best interest of the public, to make sure that people are held accountable, which gives him credit, right? Gives him integrity. He's credible. And I guess at this stage, you need to wait for the case to be resolved. He's waiting trial, right? He pled guilty. He pled guilty, and he's in that place in Canberra. He had an appeal in March this year. That's this month. The court reserving its decision. So this is all playing out right now. So he's waiting to hear what the court says for his appeal. So this is breaking news, essentially. When will the results of his appeal be known? As of March 27, which is today, the Court of Appeal has not yet announced the decision. The appeal hearing took place March 3, so it's been about 3 weeks. During which McBride's legal team argued his actions were motivated by a duty to express. We read that. So there's no answer yet. So he's sitting there waiting. Yeah. What you got there, Grahimi? Well, hold on a second. I'll just go back to. I'll grab your chat comment. I'll grab your linky poo out of the chat. That was the boy video on him, okay. Where I learned of his story. Okay. I'll grab that out of the chisel chat here. Okay, we can go back over here. The boy video. Dude, they got him in a shower? Jesus. I mean, that's a thumbnail, right? That's a thumbnail. Let's continue watching this one because we haven't finished this yet, but we'll get to that shower scene.
I did my job, put me in jail, My head will be held up high. I may have been a bit emotional when I was sentenced, but I can assure you, once the dust has settled and the exhaustion is gone, I will look back on this and be so grateful to everybody who supported, and anyone who supported me. Don't think this is a failure, this is a victory. We're going to win this, and when we do finally win...
Well, don't speak too soon, dude. You know, you might not win, let's just say.
It will be so fucking sweet.
And we're down.
Whoa. Copyrighted music there.
Vocal reaction inside the courtroom from supporters sitting in the public gallery. The judge at one point suggested he might clear the gallery if they didn't.
Can't really play this if it's going to have. I'm assuming this is all in this video as well. Let's jump into the boy video. Now this is a weird.
This is our mate David McBride. Now, it might look like he's having fun, but sadly, this is...
Yo, Hexy Mofo! How you doing, man? How you doing, Hexy Mofo? Good to see you, dude, on what is to be considered... Let's just pause for a second, and let's not get into it right now, but let's just say, Hexy, you and I, we're in the Hex community. How about all that PDI stuff? Holy shitballs. If anybody wants to know just a little snippet of what's gone down in the Hex community, there is a rift that has absolutely popped itself off because of a token on Pulse Chain, which seems to have an incorrection, or how do you describe this? It's either coded correctly or it doesn't matter whether it's done intentionally or not, but there is a function inside of this one token which allows anybody to mint an endless supply of it. And that is sending the Pulse community into an absolute tether. You've got some that are against it, some that are for it. There is an Australian streamer who is very, very for it. And he's been copping a flogging and he's losing a lot of money. And it just keeps getting minted and then getting sold. Yeah, OMG, right on, Hexy. It's. Did you see what the Atropa dev is doing? No, I haven't followed it today, so it's been about 24 hours since I've seen any updates to the saga. It's been ongoing though. For those that don't know, it's been going on for about 4 or 5 days now, where this one entity is minting as much of this token as they want, and then dumping it on our heads, causing the whole chain to go into a meltdown. And the price of Pulse and Pulse X has plummeted more so than it already is. And I scooped up $100 of it the other day. I just went, you know what? I don't have this to play around with, but I'm making this to play around with. So I got a little extra Pulse, little Pulse X while it's down. What a time though, man. Like, if you were to say what's going to happen with Hex and Pulse X, I definitely wouldn't have thought that this would have been on the bingo card, so to speak. Yeah, a token that's mintable by anybody. It's only one person that's doing it, that has the skills to do it though. Amrex, how you doing, man? So that's a little side piece of information for those that are interested in crypto. We might look. I want to dig into it. I want to do a stream dedicated to it, but I probably won't, simply because my skill level is kind of surface level when it comes to like contracts and different functions and how this all works. I've just got myself an overall perspective of what's going on. But yeah, it's very interesting. And anyway, let's move on to Hexy says, Maria driving liquidity for PDI towards zero, I guess to try to drain the liquidity and remove the drag down. Not sure though. Yeah, because the problem, and I didn't say this, but the problem is that this token is tied, or the liquidity of this token is other tokens inside the Pulse chain that are now dropping because this thing's dumping. So this is basically, you've got, if I understand correctly, you've got an impermanent loss, but it's the biggest one anyone's ever seen, right? It's the most impermanent of the losses, and it's just epic, and it's not just one token; it's like multiple tokens. The Maria's the dev, the Atropa dev. I've never heard of a male with that name, Maria. I mean, I've got a funky up name as well, but Maria, I've never heard of a male named Maria, but there you go. I've heard of a boy named Sulo. But yeah, definitely an interesting time, real interesting. And I don't own any of PDI. I didn't touch it. I just steered clear of it, but I am scooping up a little bit of Pulse and Pulse X. Crazy times, hang in for the ride, yeah. What's my name? My name's Benon. My real name, my first name, Benon. Not quite as, I guess you could have Benon. No, I mean, you could have it as a female, I suppose. Boy named Sue, classic. Yeah.
Shower together as best friends because David here is going to prison for life.
Sorry. Just to now get back to this boy content. So for those that don't know what we're watching, this gentleman on the right here, he's a whistleblower from the ADF, Australian Defence Force. He leaked information to the news. He's now looking at serving. He's now in the midst of an appeal to potentially not go to prison, but he's in prison right now. And these two dudes have a YouTube channel called Boy and Boy, or Boy, and they want to get him on for an interview. And so they would have pitched to him, here's what we want to do, dude. This is what we're thinking, okay? We want to sit you down and have a good conversation about what you've done. We want to talk all about your story. We want to shed some light onto it so that the public can see. And we also think we want to play into the angle of you potentially going to prison. So let's have a shower scene where you drop the soap. I'm assuming that's where this goes. Well, I haven't watched it yet, but I'm assuming we'll get you in a shower scene, the three of us, and one of us will drop the soap. For that reason, this channel, Boy, they get my... I don't have a symbol. They get my vote of approval. That's rad. Just pitching that to someone is an interesting idea. Let's see how it goes.
What you'd call a whistleblower. You all know what a whistle sounds like. Now, he's a soldier who served in Afghanistan who realised that Aussie soldiers were committing some of the most heinous war crimes imaginable and his superiors were covering it up. So he told the public about it. And thanks to David's bravery, nothing happened. Nothing. All the war criminals and generals are free, all the politicians are free. David's the one that's going to jail for the crime of telling us about it. Oh. Sorry. How long are you going to jail?
Nah. Dude, they should have done it naked. Just saying, they should have just like put a blur and pretended that they were naked. No one comes out of the shower in a robe with like shorts underneath it. I wanted to hear about your TikTok strike. Let me tell you about it, man. Hexy Mofo, I know not everyone's got time. You're here. I'm gonna help you along by showing you my TikTok strike, dude. Check this out. Let's go over here. This is my TikTok channel. This is the video on the right here. This is a community guidelines violation, channel violation. This video has been removed. I've appealed the decision. Account strike. You received a strike on your account for violating our community guidelines. Can you believe the reason that I got the account violation was because I drove my van with no petrol? Here is the exact video. Here is the exact video on TikTok, on Instagram. I got audio here, I hope so.
Has just come on. 496 Ks to this tank. There is 50 Ks to Tennant Creek. What that means is I'm going to run out of fuel before I get to Tennant Creek. However, I've got 40 litres above me. This is a record fuel economy. We just hit 500 Ks to the tank. Lights on. Ow! Well, we made it into Tennant Creek on that tank. 547 Ks. Fuel light's been on forever. That's impressive. I gotta tell you, I did not know that we'd make. I'd given up. I thought we weren't gonna make it. I feel like this deserves documentation. The petrol.
That's it. And I accidentally liked that myself. I'll unlike it. I don't like liking my own video. That's all I did. That's the video. I uploaded that to TikTok and got a community guideline strike. What's with that TikTok? Stupid, right? Like, why would you strike that? So I've appealed it, and the appeal is ongoing. The appeal is ongoing. Where's my appeal? But it's an epic fuel stretch. Right on, dude. Yeah. So reviewing, an appeal review typically takes up to 24 hours, may take longer. Yeah. Klaski, that does not make any sense to me. You've not even done anything worthy of getting a community guide. And all I'm saying about that is when you're trying to build a channel, like I'm trying to build my channel on TikTok. Like I've done reasonably well on TikTok in the last little while. I've got 2,385 followers, 15,000 likes, and my videos get views, man. Like 2,000 views, 7,000, 5,000, 2,000, 14,000, 14,000, 11,000, 24,000, 16,000, 427,000, 166,000, 39,000, 15,000, 17,000, 700,000. My point there is that I am getting views, and I guess I am becoming a TikToker. And so when you get this, it really throws you off. Like you just get this kind of like, oh shit, I thought I was doing the right thing here. And then I get dinged. I just gave you a follow on Insta. Look, thank you. I'm not really pushing Instagram. I use it as like a backup, if you like, for TikTok to see what shit goes down on TikTok. I put the exact same video up to Instagram. It goes through, no worries. They never saw the Seinfeld show with Kramer running on empty. I was thinking about that when I was doing it. Hey, yeah, let's push this as far as we can. Yeah, that's what I felt like for sure. You upload the same video to Insta as well and didn't even get a strike. Yeah, look, just weird. Just try to figure out the YouTube algorithm, and then while you're there, try to figure out the TikTok algorithm. Good luck for that. I don't know what to do. I'm trying to do the right thing though, and I appealed it. Let's continue on with Boy.
Sorry.
Yo, Aaron. Sorry, man. Aaron over on YouTube. How you doing, dude? Aaron Yandel. What's cracking? Klaski, that's why I never got involved with TikTok. Look, let me be clear about TikTok. I only started doing TikTok because I was told, no, that came across wrong. Someone in my community, well-beloved giver of the community, Charla Rose, said, you should do TikTok. You should pursue it. It's going to be good for you. So I listened to her advice, and I've been pursuing it for about a year. No. Yeah, maybe about a year now. So yeah, I'm using her advice to give it a crack. And when I see something as lame as this come up, I'll report on it. Grahimi, some of my most popular YouTube shorts suck, in my opinion, and ones I love have done terrible. Right? There's no way of knowing, is there?
You're going to jail.
It's a good icebreaker. Yeah, well, I don't know. It could be the rest of my life. So that brings things into a sharp focus, because you kind of think this could be the last time I go to Bondi Beach, last time I watch a movie, last time I play PlayStation. You want to come up?
Oh.
If I go inside, I want to try to get him be my cellmate.
Well, you got to get him to whistleblow.
Whistling dog.
The drug dogs. You can whistle blow the drug dogs.
False positives. On purpose.
You could infiltrate the drug dogs.
Now, to understand how David got into this position, we've got to understand what brought him to Afghanistan and what brought anyone to Afghanistan. And to do that, we need to go back to the 70s when Afghanistan was really cool. The only issue with Afghanistan was that it was a socialist country aligned with the Soviet Union, so the CIA took it upon themselves to turn the country upside down. They launched Operation Cyclone, the largest covert operation in CIA history. It pretty much involved flooding every right-wing Islamic extremist in the country with money and weapons. Literally, if you were a murderous incel in Afghanistan in the 70s, the CIA was there to make you a millionaire. Like Gulbuddin Hekmatyar, for example. Now, this guy's a real piece of shit. He failed his engineering degree, so when he saw smart women who thrived at university, he threw acid in their faces. But thanks to CIA funding and training, this guy hit the jackpot and became one of the leaders of the Mujahideen, fighting a holy war against the Afghani government and later against the Soviets too. Now, I can't stress how massive this secret operation was. They were spending $630 million a year on the Mujahideen. At one point, the CIA got the University of Nebraska to print these like educational children's books that they like spread all over Afghanistan. Taught you all sorts of useful stuff like how to behead infidels or how to count to 10 in the most fucked way possible. And the CIA won. For a period, the Soviets intervened to prop up their ally, but that eventually bankrupted.
Okay, so maybe this could be considered sort of like, I don't know, like just tell us what he did. Instead of giving us this entire backstory about how bad this CIA crap is, just tell us what this guy did.
Them and they withdrew, and a few years later, the Afghani government fell to the Mujahideen. Women could no longer go to school. The country descended into a 20-year civil war to decide which group of CIA-funded right-wing fundamentalist assholes would run the country. You had the hot one, or the incel guy, or this guy with one eye. So it turns out the one-eyed guy won. Yeah, nice. And his Taliban took over all of Afghanistan. Now, the US was happy whining and dining these guys for decades until a bunch of Saudis flew some planes into the World Trade Center. Suddenly, the US started questioning their love for right-wing Islamic extremists, and they wanted revenge. But not against Saudi Arabia, they're the US's allies. No one's touching them, obviously. They went after Afghanistan because that's where Osama bin Laden was hiding. Now, the Taliban had been trying to get rid of bin Laden for years before September 11, and when they heard the Americans were going to invade, they were like, fuck, okay, we'll give Osama bin Laden up to the International Criminal Court, just don't invade us. But as you know, the Americans invaded anyway and started the longest war in American history. 20 years and hundreds of thousands of dead bodies. So why did they do this? Well,
is that the longest war in American history? 20 years?
Maybe it's so they could have bases bordering Iran, China, and Russia, or maybe it was just...
Let me just check that, dude. The longest war in American history. Where is my ChatGPT machine? Why do I keep closing it? It's got this in the Brave browser. Oh, that's full screen. That's going to fuck it up. Hold on a second. What is the longest war? What is the longest war in American history? The war in Afghanistan, 19 years. Okay. Just didn't, it seems like so soon ago. Doesn't seem that far away, long ago. Okay.
Just to launder money for the military-industrial complex. Who knows? Now, David suggests that the main factor is actually this like perverse marketing exercise where America had to, show that they could punish anyone for September 11, and the more kills they get, the more votes they get.
Everything was done in order to impress the domestic media. They did focus groups of sort of redneck, and they were like, they couldn't really understand who the Taliban were. And they wanted to fight a country. Let's fucking smash it up, They probably would have had a better result if they'd negotiated with the Taliban and got Osama bin Laden handed over. Yeah. But that wouldn't have won votes in, for the rednecks.
Did you have these thoughts before you joined the Defence Force?
No, I didn't. I was definitely a true believer in the West and democracy.
So David actually thought he was sacrificing his life to fight terrorists. And this wasn't his first time. He's been a decorated soldier for a while, but this time was different. He decided to use his law degree in what he thought was a fight for democracy. He enlisted as a military lawyer for the Australian Special Forces, the SAS. His job was to make sure his soldiers were following the rule of law.
When they're dropping bombs on people, you've got to make sure that everything, the boxes are ticked. And it might be an in-house lawyer in a company that kills people, I guess. But
Now, the army gave David's family a gift, right? And it's the gift of a brand new dad with PTSD. But aside from that, what David got from those 2 tours of Afghanistan eventually radicalized him as well.
And the analogy I normally used was, it's a bit like being married to a serial killer who you really love. Yeah. And when they come home, the first time they come home with blood on their shoes and they say, oh, I broke my nose at work, you're like, oh, okay. Second or third time, and there's piles appearing in the garden, and it's not till you have something concrete to say they're meant to be in Cincinnati and you knew that they were in New York when the murder occurred, that you suddenly, all those other things fit together.
Now, over time, little by little, all these dodgy reports kept piling up on David's desk, and they looked like pretty heinous war crimes, but his superiors kept ignoring them.
I saw a lot of suspicious reports.
Wait. You think he's wearing a wig? Is that a hairpiece, is it? I didn't even question that. He's wearing a wig there? Okay. Guess it does look a little discolored. Okay. I wouldn't have thought that. Yeah. I mean, he was in the shower with it, though. We're 6 minutes in. The shower scene. Not here, but in a previous shot. He's got a shower cap on though. Interesting. Interesting.
The military investigator.
Oh, you mean when he was the lawyer? Yeah. That's a stupid. Yeah. They've got her all dressed in that. It's such a strange thing, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. These are the people that are going to issue judgment over a particular thing, and to make sure that you understand that they're not like us, they're going to dress funny. It's so dumb, isn't it? It's like caveman style. Moonga boonga. This man have charcoal on forehead. He different from me. Like you got to identify that the judge is different by putting him in a stupid old wig. This is dumb. Get with the times, man.
Signed off on it and said no problem, nothing to see here now.
But there were some really horrific things in there that David couldn't ignore, like the exploits of Australia's most decorated soldier, Ben Roberts-Smith.
Here in the US, they don't wear wigs, but they do wear robes. It just seems so silly. Like there's so much. We've moved on from that, haven't we? As a species, as a human race, we don't wind our cars up with a crank at the front of them anymore either. Like there's so many things that we don't do, yet some of the things snuck through, and it's just silly. It just looks so disturbingly dumb.
Back in 2006, in Ben Roberts-Smith's sort of first major medal, he'd shot like a 10-year-old boy unarmed, and other SAS people said, "What the fuck are you doing?" And they were meant to be hidden away in a silent, unseen overwatch. And he gave his position away by killing this guy that the other SAS soldiers said was just a shepherd boy minding his own business. And then other people came out, probably villagers of the town, and they shot all them as well. And he got a medal for it. And when the Defence Force gave him a medal, they said they turned the one shepherd boy into a Taliban militia force trying to outflank the SAS position. Now, that Ben Roberts-Smith didn't write that. You know, the Defence Department wrote that.
Right, to cover
because to make him the hero, because they wanted to sell the war. Good-looking guy. He was good in a press conference.
Now, to properly understand why these cover-ups were happening, we've got to understand what was going on the ground in Afghanistan when David joined.
So these allegations aren't proven, but there is other people that will back up his story. Yeah. You went to court once? Right. Why does the judge need to wear a fancy robe?
In 2012. Osama bin Laden was dead, and so was their whole reason for being in Afghanistan, right? The army had no strategic goal, and everything they tried to do seemed impossible. Like every person they killed was replaced by 3 more Afghanis who were rightfully furious that this foreign invader murdered their family. And if you weren't joining the Taliban resistance, you were at the mercy of the local warlords we put in power, who were pretty much similar to the Taliban, except they had the added bonus of also being pedophiles, but they were on our side, so who cares, right? The important thing is the military knew the war was unwinnable.
I knew something was up when we kept on saying, we'll win the war next year. But we said that the year before.
I've got a real double cheek. But they hadn't updated the process, so I hadn't heard the change. That's hands-on. But you see, it's a collar up, a chicken, a pop, totally. Companies, and a call, whatever in a safe of the shaping.
Hey, Comptech, thank you so much, man. Thank you for the sub over on the Kick there, dude. I appreciate it. I didn't even see, you're on the Kick. That's why I didn't see you slide in. Thank you, man. Hope you're doing well, dude. I don't see you there, but I know you're there. How you doing, man?
Yeah, because that's what the politicians wanted to hear. They wanted to hear, and everyone got promoted, and you put up PowerPoints saying, we're just on the cusp of victory. They had a plan, but it wasn't really to win the war. It was to win the 2004 presidential election. Drop bombs on people in turbans, get kill counts, and make it look like this is how we treat America's enemies. Nobody lost an election by sending more troops.
I'm announcing today additional American troop deployments to Afghanistan.
It is in our vital national interest to send an additional 30,000 U.S. troops to Afghanistan.
This was a forever war, driven by marketing, a never-ending string of random fabricated victories, enemy deaths that we were led to believe would bring us closer to some undefined goal, but everyone in power knew nothing would ever be achieved. The war was unwinnable. But this had effects on the ground. Like, once they realized that the war was all about marketing and every mistake, no matter how horrendous, would become a victory, the military establishment realized that anything goes.
We just thought the law was a joke. We had become a sort of a lawless organisation where anything went. Whatever the PR people wanted for the day was what happened.
Now, there was one law we never broke, though. And it's the law that says Uncle Sam is always right. You see, to understand Australia's role in the war in Afghanistan, you have to understand that September 11th didn't happen in Sydney. Well, I mean, it did happen. It happened right after the 10th, but it was just another day here, right? We were only in Afghanistan because we like to follow the Americans when they invade other countries.
The Chief of the Defence Force even said it. We are only in Afghanistan to make the Americans happy. If anything the Americans wanted us to do, we...
Yeah, but that's always been the way down under for Australia, right? Whatever, a US, yes sir, no sir.
We did, with an almost shameless excitement, without really thinking about whether we could do it.
As you might know from our Pine Gap video, we once had a leader that stood up to the Americans, and the Americans removed him from power. Since then, every Aussie government has tried their best to prove that they're a trustworthy lackey in America's empire, and Afghanistan was our time to shine. Now, the Americans had a problem, right? They needed higher kill counts for their domestic audience, but their special forces were already under a bit of scrutiny for war crimes. But their little Aussie lapdogs were much less relevant. No one cares what we get up to in Afghanistan. And even if they did catch us talking about our heinous war crimes, no one could really understand our stupid accents anyway. So the Americans delegated their dodgiest killings to us through something called JPEL, Joint Priority Effects List. Now, this list was full of kill capture targets, but we decided to read them just as kill targets because it's much, much easier than capturing someone. And sometimes you've got to kill a bunch of extra people on top of that because, you know, you're bored. Now, the Aussies got so good at these missions that we took over the territory given to the Dutch and the British and the Canadian forces, who were hesitant to do the things that needed to be done because it would be politically damaging if their people found out what they were doing. But we didn't give a shit. We just wanted to impress the Americans, so we became their most loyal executioners. But unfortunately, we were a bit too good at doing the US's dirty work, right? The rumors of war crimes started circulating and the military establishment was freaking out.
They did know about Roberts, man. The complaints finally got through and they said, fuck, this is an issue. We can't have our fucking star player go down. Not only they cared so much about him, but all the people that have been shaking his hand and the Governor General pinning medals on him, and it's going to be huge.
Suddenly, the government needed to reverse course and start covering their tracks.
A kind of warning was put out to all the troops saying, basically, don't murder people.
Sounds like what we need here is a DOGE. We need a Department of Government Efficiency to open up all these documents and let the public decide. Why should one man suffer? Why should one guy go down? If this guy's telling the truth and this is what went down, there'd be documents of it. Why can't we all go and have those documents be heard?
Said, what's that about?
So the government was suddenly like really serious about war crimes, but obviously they're not going to go after the decorated war criminals whose crimes they spent a decade covering up. No, what they needed was a sacrificial lamb, a fresh, brand new soldier that could be made an example of to show that the Australian leadership cares about war crimes. And it was David's job to prosecute him.
What they tried to do is get scapegoats in order to make sure that no one looked too closely at him. I wasn't prepared to let a soldier get sacrificed, thrown under a bus, just because what the minister needed was a bad guy. They've got drone footage of all this. Yeah, and if they wanted to actually put people on trial, they'd use the drone footage. And they don't want to use the drone footage because the drone footage, A, the Americans don't want them to, but secondly, that shows that they must have known at the time.
Yeah. After all this time chasing up war crimes reports only to get constantly pushed back by his superiors, now they suddenly wanted him to punish a man he thought was innocent. And this was the final straw. David decided to start photocopying all the dodgy reports, all the proof of war crimes he could get a hold of, and all the evidence of this big cover-up, and leak it to a journalist at the prestigious state broadcaster, a guy called Dan Oakes from the ABC. Now,
he leaked it or he handed it?
David was risking his life leaking this, and what the ABC ended up doing with it was unfortunate, right? Like, instead of a story of like corruption at the highest levels of government, they turned it into like a cultural issue. A story about how a group of bad boy soldiers had become desensitized and hyped each other up to murder innocent people.
They basically painted it as bad soldiers, but they don't really ever point the finger at the leadership to say he didn't really do this on his own, in the sense that they promoted him, they never really looked into it, there were complaints. If a general
either knew or should have known, they're liable too. But they've managed to forget all about that.
Now, the soldiers committing these crimes were psychopaths, right? The ABC's not wrong, but they completely ignored David's documents about all the powerful people who enabled it and covered it up. It's letting the leadership off the hook, right? And either way, there's no like legal or ethical way to invade and terrorize an innocent country.
So why did David not leak that to multiple outlets? Why did he just choose the ABC? He could have easily leaked it multiple times. Different reporters, different networks said, you guys decipher this how you will. The ABC chose to go down this avenue. You can choose the avenue you like, but here are the facts. He probably should have just created a website or made a YouTube video and leaked it all himself and pointed out what all the stuff is. He probably should have given it to Anonymous. You know, like what? How did this get tied back to him? I guess we're going to find that out as well.
What we did to the people of Afghanistan is a senseless crime in itself, and no one was prosecuted for it.
There's far too much emphasis on war crime, you know. It's 200,000 Afghan dead and then giving the place back to Taliban. I mean, no one's lost their job over that. Why
that's not considered a war crime.
The biggest crimes were committed by the leaders.
Yeah. But unfortunately, the ABC went for the path of least resistance, right? They published a war crime story, which felt like a victory for the anti-war left, but they also exonerated all the leaders, which, you know, should have been a victory for the government. But the government didn't care how lightly the ABC tread, right? They collaborated with a whistleblower and they needed to be punished. So the government did what any democracy does in this situation.
And there's a raid happening right here at the ABC right now, just 100 metres or so that way.
They sent in the federal police to raid the national broadcaster and all these journalists' homes. And everyone...
See, that's another thing too. If he had have leaked it to multiple outlets, this ABC raid would have been insequential, right? It wouldn't have meant anything. It's weird how he just chose one outlet. Why was he favouring one media outlet?
They sent in the federal police to raid the national broadcaster and all these journalists' homes, and everyone was terrified. Once the federal agents walked out of the building, even the news reporter who was meant to be covering it sounded like a 12-year-old trying to make small talk with his girlfriend's dad.
Was there anything wrong there?
Now, David was hiding in Spain long before the ABC published their story. He's on the run from the most powerful people in the world, and he's obviously scared. But David told us that the most painful part about being a whistleblower is knowing you have to leave your loved ones behind. He had to watch his daughters grow up from the other side of the world. Eventually, he gave up on hiding, and he did something I've only ever seen someone do in an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. He flew back to Australia, risked life imprisonment by a corrupt government just so he could spend one night at a daddy-daughter dance.
She kept saying there's a father-daughter dance later in the year, and I'd be like, if I come home, I'll get arrested, and if I get arrested,
I still don't get how he did this. Like, why did he sign off on it? Like, why didn't he just do it anonymously? These documents just land on your desk, and you don't know where they come from. How's this tied back to him?
Probably been in jail a long time. He just said, I want you to come back for the dance. and I could tell when I spoke to her, I could tell it was just silent. And I could just tell she was silently crying on the end of the phone. And I was like, oh, no father can handle it.
So David came back to Australia.
You never really knew just how terribly he needed you.
It's weird.
Now, this moment didn't last very long. David was arrested and put on trial for leaking.
Now, hold on. Why would he meet his daughter in Australia in a nightclub? Yo, it's only a bit corrupt. Why the robes? I'll just. How you doing, man? Over on D-Love. I'll just explain that super quickly. So these interviewers, this channel Boy, they're interviewing a whistleblower who's probably going to serve a fair amount of time in prison. We're waiting to find that out in the next week or two. And so they interviewed him, and I guess their shtick was that, hey, how about we do a thing about you going to prison? So they opened the interview, which is quite funny. They opened the interview with them in a shower with him, and I thought they were going to go with the gag of don't drop the soap, but that's the whole thing, that they're interviewing him as a potential inmate, and that's why they're in robes. But what I don't get from this story is, number one, why did he leak it to one news outlet? Why did he put his name to it? And then when it's found out that it's him and he's got to come back to Australia, why did he sneak into the country and then have this video of him meeting his daughter for the first time in a nightclub, what looks like. Could be a dance, could be a school formal or something, but that seems like they did that just for the camera. Like, maybe to prove what he's saying is real, if the record has been there. He could have easily leaked that information and redacted his name off of it, for sure. And he could have done it to multiple outlets. There's something that's weird about that, in my mind anyway. Definitely strange.
Classified information. But it wasn't a normal trial where, you can defend yourself, right? It was the other kind of trial where the judge turns to you and says, sorry, mate, the Americans said the evidence you're using for your defense isn't actually allowed for national security reasons. So we've decided you have to defend yourself with zero evidence.
The government was given authority to bundle up evidence and run out the back door with it. Makes it impossible for us realistically to go to trial.
I'm not giving up hope. He's done the right thing. I've said that from the beginning. Truth and justice will prevail, and I'm incredibly proud of him, as are his two girls.
So yeah, obviously since he can't defend himself, he's going to jail, which...
I don't want this to be a thing, but why has he got headphones on? Why has he got... He's at a rally for himself by the look of it, and he's got headphones? What, have you also just gone from a club where you've been DJing or something? Like, what's... There's some weird shit in this story, right? What? He's there at some public rally with his ex-wife, and he's got his Beats headphones on? You're not 14, dude. What's going on? Is he a DJ? Is that what? Did he fly in to do a DJ set for his daughter or something? What's going on with that? I'm not going to mention anything else about his attire, but what's with those headphones? That's weird, right?
So yeah, obviously since he can't defend himself, he's going to jail, which sets an insane precedent here in Australia. Like it's the death of whistleblower laws, right? This ruling means that if you have information that your boss is committing a crime and you leak that information, then you're the criminal.
The judge ruled to say there are no exceptions. If you're in the military and the orders are don't release information, it doesn't matter whether the chief of the Defence Force is selling secrets to our enemies or a pedophile ring or war crimes. We didn't even get to the facts. He just said there are no exceptions.
Now all this time...
Sounds like just to play devil's advocate here, he would have known that before he joined up. There's a code of silence or a code of conduct, and you sign off that you're not going to release information. So he definitely knew that. He made a decision to release this information based upon the severity of the information. So the rules don't get bended, is what I'm hearing. The rules can't be manipulated depending on what the thing is. You can't release secure information from the ADF. That's what I'm hearing.
The ABC was scared silent. They never once mentioned David McBride since they got raided back in 2019, and David's legal team started to get a bit suspicious. When they asked the ABC for evidence to help his case, they refused.
Dude, he's got headphones on there as well. What is this? Like, why is he wearing headphones? It shouldn't bother me, but it really does. He's obviously at these places for his own benefit. And then what is he then just going, I don't want to listen to anybody else. I'm putting on Fatboy Slim, What's going on?
Cooperate, which was confusing. But suddenly it all made sense, right? A few weeks before he's sentenced to, prison, the ABC finally pipes up to release a hit piece on him. Australia's premier journalism program, Four Corners, was faced with this bombshell story of government cover-ups, war crimes, and the brutal erosion of our democratic freedoms. But instead, they decided to run this documentary suggesting that David McBride isn't a real whistleblower and he doesn't deserve your attention. They made absurd claims that he actually wanted to cover up war crimes himself, and he somehow leaked all these incriminating documents by accident.
I didn't notice that with the headphones, but it's odd. It's definitely odd. Definitely odd.
They pointed at the fact that, among all the evidence of war crimes that he gave them, there was that one soldier that he thought was improperly prosecuted and used as a smokescreen. And David wanted to protect this guy. And this was enough for the ABC to smear him and turn his whole story into like the only whistleblower in the world who leaked war crimes because he really wanted to cover up war crimes.
David McBride wanted to expose that our soldiers were being unfairly targeted, they were being unfairly investigated. It's a much greyer and murkier and messier story than people appreciate.
It's honestly a mind-melting thing to watch. Like, the crazy part is they spent 6 months filming this with him. They met his family. He opened up about wanting to commit suicide, for God's sake.
There are times when I am really...
Are you kidding me? He's wearing those headphones again. What on earth is going on? I want to find out what's with that, man. I want to find out. Did I close ChatGPT again? I did. You idiot. Give me the ChatGPT machine. Get that off full screen. Make that full screen. Why does David McBride, what's his name? David, what's his name? David McBride. Wear headphones around his neck in media appearances. Often wears headphones around his neck in media appearances. While he hasn't explicitly stated the reason, here are a few possible explanations. Symbolic statement. Some speculate it could be a subtle protest, a way to maintain control over how he presents himself. Practical habit. If he frequently does interviews via online platforms, that's not true. He's out in public walking around. Personal comfort or a quirk. Some people have personal habits. A quirk. Since McBride is known for his strong stance on truth and justice, the headphones might also serve as an unspoken message. It's not really sure. Okay. Grahimi, your background music kind of sounds like Sanford and Son theme song. Sanford and Son. I don't know who that is. I don't know what I know Mumford and Son. I don't know who Sanford and Sons is. Sanford and Son. Sanford and Son theme song. I better not play that. I'm going to get dinged off YouTube, but okay, I get the idea. I kind of get the idea. Okay, I can kind of hear it slightly.
That's a lot to say out loud at this point.
Now, I can't stress how cruel this was. Dan Oakes received a prestigious medal for journalism for publishing a handful of David's leaks. And now, just as the government is deciding, how long David should go to prison for leaking it to him, he decides to try his best to make sure that David goes to prison for as long as possible. They literally sacrificed David to prove to the government that they can be trusted. They'll never publish leaks again. They made sure the big guys got the message that journalism is dead in Australia, and our democratic institutions that are meant to keep the government in check are completely at their disposal. So yeah, David got fucked. But what happened to all the war criminals that we now know about thanks to David? Well, let's go back to the start of the video, to our first war criminal, Ben Robert Smith. Following McBride's leaks, a couple of journalists published some more detailed
That's not Robert Smith, that's Dr. Disrespect. The kids know better.
About Ben Robert Smith. Ben was pissed. He's a war hero, after all. These allegations are grossly offensive, and look, he's got some pretty powerful friends. So these journalists decided, they'd give up and just settle and pay him. And he said, no, you're going to pay more. I'm suing you for defamation. So he essentially forced these journalists to prove these allegations in court. So they found all these witnesses and evidence, and what they ended up proving in the defamation case was so much worse than the initial allegations. It's the most insane stuff I've ever heard. Like stories about him grabbing a little Afghani kid and blowing his brains out and then telling his fellow soldiers, this was the most beautiful thing I ever saw. Or the time he executed a disabled man and then took his prosthetic leg and kept it as a trophy, and now he just takes it around to parties so him and his soldier buddies can drink beer out of it. So this isn't just a war crime. This is the kind of demonic shit you'd only see in like a fantasy novel. This is orc behavior.
What about their legs? They don't need those.
He's shown us exactly the kind of demons we create when we invade and brutalize a third world country for 20 years without any accountability. Now, the funny part is no one had to know about Penn's crimes. Like, all the big guys had his back. All the politicians and the oligarchs and the generals, they were all there vouching for him. He just had to shut the fuck up and live his life. But he decided to spend $40 million trying to force a court to prove that he's the vilest piece of shit in Australia. Like, this astronomical cell phone would be hilarious if it wasn't for the fact that after that, nothing happened. There were no consequences. He wasn't punished. He gets to live a normal life. Like, whoopsie, everyone makes mistakes. Run along now, Ben. This psychopathic orc is free to just roam around my city, and then every time I leave my house, I risk bumping into him in his freaky little pants.
Okay, so we don't need to learn more about that. That's very interesting. I wouldn't mind seeing the 60 Minutes report. 60 Minutes, David McBride. If it's on here. ABC News in depth. Don't see it here. BBC. Manson. It's not it. Let's take a look at this from ABC News. 7:30 report.
For the first time ever, a TV crew has been allowed inside this Canberra prison to interview an inmate.
And this is the same network that he leaked the documents to. What do you got there, Grahamy? Another... This is Missing in Action song. Beautiful sample. Okay.
Blower David McBride was imprisoned in May after pleading guilty to stealing national security information.
So this network, this is the network that is responsible for publicizing the leaks that he leaked. They published it incorrectly as the soldiers were the ones that were in the wrong, whereas the idea of the whistleblowing was to alert them to the authorities above the soldiers that were authorizing all this shit. And this is the same network that gets his interview from prison. That's rich.
And passing it on to the media.
No headphones.
You've been in jail now for nearly 6 months. How's it been?
It's been hard. I'm not going to say it hasn't been hard. I've been looked after by a few senior people in here, prisoners, and but you won't necessarily survive jail. You literally do not know whether you're going to make it because
they took his headphones off of him. Yeah, like they also took anything out of this room that would be used for better audio. Like the audio is bouncing off all the walls.
Every day is an opportunity for violence to flare up, and the people here are pretty serious.
Has there been any attempts on your life or threats?
I wonder if he gets the chance to say, hey, dudes, by the way, why did you publish that report the way you did? Why didn't you tell the actual story?
Threats, yeah. Certain group that hated me because they thought that I was against good Aussie soldiers. It's a dangerous place. You know, you're not in here for parking violations.
McBride joined the Australian Defence Force in 2009. He served 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan, one with Special Forces. The former lawyer leaked hundreds of classified documents to the ABC, which led to it exposing war crimes. For people who don't know what prison's like...
That's not exactly right. That didn't lead to exposing war crimes. It led to a report from ABC that was later retracted and said sorry about.
Describe a day.
It's quite structured and it's busier than you thought. I thought I'd be sitting around writing a lot of letters by candlelight, a bit like I was in the Tower of London waiting execution. It's not really like that. You wake up at a certain amount of time, you're parade by your doors, We all go to the gym together, you all come back together, you all have lunch together, and then you have another 3 inspections later on in the afternoon, and you all get locked in relatively early, locked into your rooms, but you're quite emotionally exhausted each day. You're always on edge that someone might jump out and attack you over something you didn't do the way that they wanted to do it. It's tiring. I've got friends in here now, but I'll be breathing a big sigh of relief when I get out.
And what do you miss most?
Oh, my children, of course. They've developed into really strong young women, and I'm very proud of them.
Before you were sentenced, you did a video saying you needed to go to prison to fix this country.
If you're watching this, I'm in prison. We need to look at how this country can pretend that I'm a national security threat.
What did you mean by that?
I mean, unless there was something that drew the public's attention, we weren't going to get change. All you need is interest from the community to say, here is a guy who used to be, have a good career, a lawyer, we're now putting him in jail. He says he was trying to reveal bad things about the government. The government said he's damaged the government, damaged the country. Now, we need people to think about that.
You're a polarising figure. You've also got some detractors.
People say I'm not a whistleblower because I'm not a war crimes whistleblower, in the sense that I didn't say I saw Trooper Smith shooting an Afghan, blowing his brains out one day. I didn't, and I never have said that.
Hey, hi Rez, how you doing, man?
I am a whistleblower against the government. So that's a confusion to say I'm not a whistleblower. I clearly am, but I'm not a whistleblower against soldiers. I'm a whistleblower against the leadership, the generals.
Which is not what the ABC reported.
You will always get haters, no matter what you do. You will always have haters who don't necessarily understand you.
So what is being a whistleblower?
Want to do a random call and speak about the nature of the streaming internet? I can't really do it now, today. You've caught me near the end of my stream. Can we put a pin in it and do it another time? But I'm down for that. I just can't do it right now. I'm just we're getting close to wrapping up here. Can do it tomorrow though at a pinch. Pin it sounds good. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've been live for 2 hours now or something. I was just going to do a shorter stream today, but maybe tomorrow we can get deep about that. The nature of the streaming internet. So different sites, different streaming platforms, and how it's all going. Okay, yeah. Can I join in? Anyone will be able to join in. Yeah. I mean, I'm down for that. Just by the way, just for those Grahimi and for those that are new here, I always, and I didn't do it today, so I don't always, but I normally begin my stream with kind of like the rough outline of what I'd like to do. But then I say, if anybody else wants to do something else, like come in for a chat, something on their mind, they want to call in, I'll put all this aside and we'll do whatever you dudes want. Because the way I see it is my streams are a place for me to let off my steam and, explore different avenues. But it's not only about me. It's the two-way street, right? It's the live platform. So you guys can also influence and sort of dictate where my content goes. That's why we're watching this David McBride stuff, because I didn't know anything about this before I started streaming today, and here we are learning about it. So, yeah. Yo, Flowski, how you doing, man? Thanks, man. I've always had much respect for you. Oh, Flowski, how you doing, man? Just sliding in there on D-Live. Hi, Rez, I've always had much respect for you. A short call would be wholesome, I think. Yeah, man. Yeah, we can do it. Yeah, we can do that for sure. I'm down for that tomorrow. I may force you to imagine a two-way street in space. A two-way street in space. Interesting. Yeah, and so what I should have said, and I should have said this a few times, which I'd neglected to, if anybody else doesn't want to do what we're doing, we can change what we do and we can decide based upon what you dudes want. A three-way space. Nice. I don't think at this stage we need to learn any more about David McBride, though. I feel like I've gathered enough information, and I want to also thank you, Grahimi, for bringing this to my attention. I feel like I did learn a fair amount about this guy, and we'll check in a week or two when his case gets, or when the results of his trial come through, and we'll see if he does get either released or what his sentence turns out to be.
Hey guys, I hate to interrupt you, Nick. Hello there. But anywho, I'm gonna go to bed, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.